time. There were several of us who had done well, but our brand and reputation was still pretty much steady, And anybody who succeeded was seen as a oddball, as a freak, one-off. It's not a representative of the larger group. And so most of us were seen as that. So everybody who had done well, will be thought highly of, but people never generalize that thing. And so even people like Chandrasekhar and many we thought were very, very good. When we sent them out to the VCs that we knew they wouldn't get funded, because the VCs are what they are. They looked at the whole thing. They have enough risk that they already know in this process. This unknown risk of a foreigner Indian, and they have no basis to make a decision there. So it wasn't racism or anything like that. It was Indians were not salespeople. They were not marketing people. They were not financial people. They were not general managers. So our brand was still the Tati brand, and that sort of forced our hand. We said, person like Chandrasekhar is very, very good. And I think his idea is very good. So he needs to be funded, and we would band together and raise money. So even though I put $250,000, that $3 million that he was raised was from people I knew. And assembled around who had worked with me in the past, and several of the Indian who had done well were part of that 3 million group. And that's how the process started. And it took several years before that we were producing steady number of new entrepreneurs that we were seen as entrepreneurial people. And now the brand is totally different. The Indians are seen as top tier entrepreneurs, top tier investors in the valley, and so I think everybody has benefited from the brand generation, all the way back here. We are now the top brand in the world as technical people, as entrepreneurial people, as any out there. They coming back to this thing of low odds. The Indian, my opinion of India was very low simply because of my personal experience. Growing up in India, the notion was of, let me use the right word, appropriate technology. That almost always meant the older technology. Import substitution. That meant reinventing the wheel, using your best brains to redo these things that had already been done somewhere else. So, so we had become the people who were really in that mindset. And there was never a belief that we could do it better, we could compete. So the whole, the legal framework was to set up to prevent others from coming here to or us from competing with others. The weaker section of societies. How can we compete with those powerful corporations? And I used to tell that, hey, we can go there and compete on their turf and beat them. So you don't tell me that Indians are not competitive people. I used to tell that to people here, and people say, no, you're different. I said, well, there are a large number of us who are doing that. So we can do the toughest market in the world, Silicon Valley, where the best and the brightest from all over the world come, and we can compete with them and come out on the top. So I think, the belief system is changed now. When I first started to deal with the Indians through my startup, experience was outright bad. We had this entrepreneur from Baroda, Dr. Madhu Mehta. So some of you probably know him because he was part of the SAM's original team, right? And Madhu Mehta was a guy who had set up a company to do software development, and we had given him the contract to do some software development for us. You don't send him the board or the software; it will sit in the customs for months. And it was why wouldn't you let me say? I said, we have a contract for this person to develop software, and what software this? How much is this thing worth? There's not. It's not much value. This is the basis that he needs to use our software to develop. So everything we did in 80s was a bad experience. And so by late 80s when Dr. Mehta met, I had gone through with several of these experiences. And one of the experiences I should tell you, I got this fax one time from a company in Delhi that we were selling Ethernet boards, that they wanted to buy 300 boards from us. But they wanted the boards unassembled. And I said, we don't sell unassembled boards. Their request was, please give us a quote on unassembled boards. I said, no, we don't sell unassembled boards. We sell fully tested boards. And here's the price list. And so we said, no, we don't do it. And the answer came that we would be willing to pay some premium for unassembled boards. And I said, premium? So I asked our manufacturing guys, can you kit the boards? He said, yeah, we already kit the boards before we started them ourselves. So we had the kits ready. So we can ship them there. I said, So you think 20% premium would be enough to handle? He says, yeah, that would be more than, we are shipping them less than what we ship to other people, and we charge them 20% more. So we ended up shipping the boards at 20% premium, unassembled. But I could never understand, why would they pay me that? And it was only about 10 years later when I was giving the speech in Delhi and telling the story that somebody said, I was the guy who sent you that patch. It was what's his name, Arjun Malhotra. And so he told me that the issue was there was 170% duty if I bought the components and 300% duty if I bought the assembled boards. And I said, how can that be worth something? Because the government of India had this notion of value-added labor implied in India. How can you pay me more and get less and think this labor is productive? So my experience was like that, and I said, India is stuck in the mud, and probably will always be stuck in the mud as long as we have this mindset. But then I started to see people like Dr. Mehta, who were, as entrepreneurial and as pushy as any entrepreneurs I had known, and then Harish Mehta there in Bombay and Saurabh in Delhi. And then I started to change opinion, of people from the country and the government. Indians are as entrepreneurial people as any, and very quickly started to engage with them, and rest is history. And I will leave at that. I have enjoyed working with people here. I love working with entrepreneurs. And just to give you my personal record, I have mentored maybe close to 2,000 people one-on-one. And for a while, I was doing about 5 or 6 a day, 7 days a week. And there's unlimited demand. There's unlimited demand. You open up the slots, they fill up before you know. And so for about 3-4 years, it was like nonstop. And I did invest in 53 companies, and 53 where I was engaged at a deeper level, including Exodus. Of those 53 companies, the last of the one is being acquired as we speak now. 21 have exit. 6 of them have had IPOs, and now 14 have been acquired. 1 is in process of being acquired, and the 2 are still left. So it's a pretty good record because I gave you the odds of 1 to 2%. So here my odds are about 40% of the companies I did in days. But remember these guys were pre-selected by themselves. They opted in, so they were in that 10 to 20% bracket. But even there, over that number I improved, and which is a pretty good record because that. There are many factors here that come into play. But I have learned now there are certain traits that sort of preordained success. And I'll give you 3 or 4 of those before give up the podium. The first one I call is the ownership. The person takes the ownership of himself and his actions and things around him. And that means he blames himself for the failures and passes the credit on to the others by and large. So the person who says, I was not successful because my VP of engineering was not able to get the job done, right there's a problem. Or I was unsuccessful because the VCs wouldn't fund me any further. Or I was unsuccessful because my customer went away. So he's always blaming somebody else outside. And that person will never succeed as an entrepreneur. Your attitude has to be, I wasn't smart enough to see that my VP was falling behind and he needed help. I wasn't smart enough to see that VCs were getting turned off on me because I was not giving them what they needed. Or I was not able to see the market was shifting on me. So the person has to have that kind of mindset where it's him. It's him, not somebody else who is responsible. And so because that's how you learn. That's how you get sharper in your thinking. So the ownership of the whole thing, where you internalize the issues rather than externalize those things, it's a number one trait. So anybody who starts to tell me that I failed last time because my partner, I know the guys, bye-bye, very quickly move on. The guy, when he starts by saying that, I screwed up that time because the market was shifting, so he's a guy that who has learned his lesson. So after the other sense is sense of fair play. Entrepreneurship is a team sport. It's a team sport, and it's a very high stress environment. So environment has to have a sense of fairness about it. It doesn't mean it has to be easy. It doesn't mean that you have to be easy on people, but you have to be fair. So you cannot show favoritism. If there's a guy who's performing and he says that, hey, this other guy, that's a favorite treatment, he's going to be